we're going to go into some upper body work now. So one exercise that I utilised last year when I had the groin issue that I felt helped massively, and when I was able to do it pain-free, was chins with a roller between your legs to try and engage the adductors, groins, and your lower abdominals as well. So, and it makes the pull-ups a good bit more challenging. So it nearly doubles down as like adding load to your chins, because your knees are in front of the body and it's more of a challenge, and you can't really use momentum as much. So from here, we're bringing the knees up to our chest as much as we can. If we can get the room in here. Hold. Last rep. Up and hold at the top. Engage the groin, squeeze the roller together, knees high, lower down. So I do still find that if there's anything, like I've been pain-free in the groin now for a long time, since probably last July. But if there's anything that it's just one exercise that I still kind of feel a wee bit of pain, it is in that, but it also keeps the area strong. So probably half of it's in your head when you can feel something, from just past experience of having pain in that area. Yeah, it's a good one to add in if you are someone who, if you're doing like a session like me today where you're combining upper body with a bit of prehab and targeting the lower body, it's nearly killing two birds with one stone. And again, I find it kind of offloads everything else when I do that exercise, and I just feel a lot better after it. So yeah, give it a go. Curls now, fuck it. We'll go on this. So the GHD machine is a weapon. Probably one of the most underutilized tools in a gym, if you have it in your gym, that is. Obviously not if you don't. So again, another key exercise that I added in last year when I had the groin issue, and I felt helped massively. So this one is again a bit of an isometric hold, and again roller between the legs to engage the adductors as well as the lower abdominals. Feet nice and wedged in. Just gonna hand me up that plate because I can't reach it now. So again, isometric work is really useful in season, because you're not putting your tissues through length and therefore excess load, which can lead to DOMs. So a nice starting point for a lot of athletes here is literally just building capacity in this position around that lower core and adductor range. So we're just holding here. You can oscillate as well, and we're going to do that for 30 seconds. Another key thing here is that you're driving like the top of my foot up into the GHD as well. If you're pushing upwards here, engage the quads. The roller is engaging the adductors, and then as you come back, you're naturally going to engage that lower core. It's normal to kind of like vibrate in this position, which is a sign that you're weak and you actually need to work on it. And again, if you want to add challenge to this, we can add in rotation. We can add in more length. Length and rotation. But again, you kind of need to earn the right to be able to do those movements. And by earning the right, what I mean by earning the right is actually being strong in this position and actually being able to hold it for long periods of time. So a couple of sets of that as well helps you just keep things taking over in season. A lot of this work as well, it doesn't have to be on a separate day. See, like, you don't have to be going to the gym all the time. A good time to factor this in is if you have a gym at your pitch during your prep with purpose work. Before you go out onto the pitch, you can microdose small bits of this strength work in before, which one, helps you prepare for the session, and two, again, microdose the strength in so that you're keeping those tissues nice and strong and robust in season, and you're not having to constantly be in the gym every day of the week. What about that for a bench angle? Very minimally inclined.
Yeah, that's ideal, I would say.
I kind of like that. Yeah. Going to the bench now. dumbbell bench today. So one key mistake, again, I see athletes make who are trying to build muscle in the gym is like say they've 3 or 4 sets programmed, they'll just do, like for example, they'll pick up 30s, do that for the first set. Realistically, it's a warm-up set, but they'll count it as one of their main working sets. Then they'll go up to 35, and they'll probably end up with like 37 on the last set. But really, you've only had 1 set of a proper stimulus in there instead of 3. So for me, I'm doing 30s here, but this is my warm-up set, and it doesn't count as one of the 3 sets that I'm going to be properly loading up on. So again, nice and slow in the warm-up set. Take it through as full a range as possible as you can. And I like to keep, another mistake, as I sit here, is like doing like 8 reps in your warm-up set. Like you don't need to do that many and even cause a small bit of fatigue. 3, 4 reps is grand. So yeah, I'll pair this bench up with a lower body, like robustness exercise. Sometimes I like to do, 2 upper bodies together, like bench and chins, but it can sometimes take away from both of them if you're trying to maximize strength in both lifts. So, it doesn't have to be that way. So I'll go bench, prehab, lower body, then I might go into chins after a bit of prehab or an exercise with that. It could be core, it could be groin, hamstring, whatever it is. And it means I can actually fully focus on the upper lift and maximize the strength within that. I actually read a study. There was a study put out yesterday by BioLane, and he talked about, it was comparing like perfect form with less than ideal form and which one was better for muscle building. So like use momentum or actually really strict form. And in that study it was found that there was no real difference in terms of like building muscle mass, but the key takeaway was that like when you're lifting with perfect form, you nearly need to use a lighter weight than you would if you're using less than ideal form. So for example, if I'm doing this with less than ideal form at 42s, but it takes 37 kg for me to do like really strict, really slow tempo, then it probably evens itself out. So yeah, I don't know what the real takeaway from that is. Like what's more ideal, what's more optimal. Like injury risk could be a wee bit higher with less than ideal form, using momentum, and you're just all over the place. I think somewhere in the middle is probably where it lies. So I've never been someone that was really fucking meticulous on like 3-4 seconds down, slow up. I think it's fucking boring and monotonous, and as well as an athlete, like we want to bring intent to the lifts as well. So like, yes, we want to control the eccentric, but we want to have intent on the way back up as well. So control down, then explode up. Another one that Hank, do we? When it comes to maxing out, I would rarely try and go to complete failure every time. Like you're gonna fry your CNS out, across the period of a week, and especially when you're trying to maximize energy for on the pitch. If you're constantly going to the well in gym sessions, we've talked about in the past, like you're gonna end up with just high days constantly, and you're gonna end up burning out. So you will maximize muscle mass if you're leaving like 1, 2, sometimes 3 reps in the tank. You're still gonna get a lot out of that. With upper body movements, you can probably go to failure that wee bit easier. It's not going to fry your CNS as much as if you're doing a heavy back squat or a heavy front squat or deadlift and you're maxing out and leaving no reps in the tank. Your CNS is going to be fucking fried, and you do not want that when you're trying to go out in the pitch. Like we all know that feeling of like doing a gym session on a Monday and training on a Tuesday and going in and your legs are just fucked and you're running around the pitch like a duck, and like no one wants that. Do you know what I mean? Because again, we need to prioritize, like your main part of your week is your pitch sessions. It's coming in fresh, feeling good, being able to get the most from like your speed, your change of direction work, and then obviously the ball work as well. Like the actual game related stuff that you're doing on the pitch is unbelievably important. That, like from my experience, I remember when I first came into the county and like I hadn't really adapted that well to the pitch loads or the gym. You were frying yourself in the gym on a Monday, Tuesday running around the pitch and your legs felt like lead, And like, yeah, as I have said before, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's just not ideal. So this is why the structure of your week is so important and getting that absolutely nailed on. Next up we have bent knee, overcoming calf isometric. So yeah, this kind of work, like you don't need to be in a big commercial gym with a calf raise machine to get direct calf work in. Like you can think outside the box, and like for me at the minute, I'm just trying to target my soleus, get it strong, which will strengthen obviously the Achilles tendon as well. So you can you can set that up within a gym. So here we've got 2 safety bars, barbell, bit of a cushion here for my knee because I'm a bit of a bitch, can't really deal with the pain, and I'm just going to drive up literally. So this isn't going to move, it literally cannot move. Ideally, you're just like, if you're someone with Achilles pain, you're just trying to find a position that isn't overly painful, like not more than a 3 out of 10, and you're just trying to push from there for 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is still quite sore, my knee, but so this has been a key focus for me, is like trying to build as much stiffness around the ankle, Achilles, calf as I can, because it's definitely been a weak area of mine, and something that I identified when I was looking at like my acceleration work, my max velocity work, was just lacking stiffness when I was hitting the floor, which leads up the chain and can have a huge impact. So ideally, the only way you're doing this is if like you do need a big fucking cushion or like a big mat or something under your knee, which doesn't limit the amount you can push. So if this is like really sore in my knee, like I'm not going to be pushing overly hard, I'm probably not going to get much from it. But yeah, for those who don't know, so when you're working your calf in a bent knee position, you're strengthening your soleus. When you're working in straight leg, like upright, you're working your gastroc. So 2 completely different parts of the calf, and it's probably the soleus that a lot of GAA athletes need to target the most. So with overcoming work, we're really going, say, 3 to 5 second push, 3 to 4 reps each side for 3 to 5 sets. Oh, like if your faces aren't mental, then you're probably not pushing hard enough. If you're doing overcoming work anyway. Shit's demanding. Right, I had to put a wee cushion in, another wee cushion, was just feeling like a bitch. Right. Bitch bad. The goal is to break these things off. Like, someday we'll get there. So when you're doing like real short overcoming work, the key is intent. Go as hard as you possibly can for those 3 seconds and as fast as you possibly can. So it's not just like a slow build up and then go hard. It's like, if it's a 3 second push, it's 3, 2, 1, go, drive. And ideally you'd have someone fucking behind you roaring at you to go hard to get that wee bit more out of you. 5 seconds again, you're trying to go really hard for those 5 seconds. The longer you go then, like the less intent that you're trying to bring, you're trying to build capacity or whatever. Sometimes you might do 10-second pushes or holds, which would be pushing at like 70, 80%. Fucking feel like my soleus is about to crop out. Right, last push. 2, 1. It has been shown as well, so I find if I'm trying to do a 3 second push, typically just naturally you will end up only pushing for like 2 seconds, you'll go hard. But in the research, I think a minimum of 3 seconds is like where you're going to get the most benefits in terms of like improving rate of force development of your tendon, like the stiffness. So I'll aim for 5 seconds, and typically it'll be between 3 and 4. So yeah, small wee tip for you. Ooh. I don't know if I'll do any more of that, hey? No, I'm not doing any more of that. Fucking, I end up having DOMs for Sunday. Like a big misconception when it comes to trying to build stiffness in your tendons is that plyometrics are actually the best idea, when realistically they're not. Like the best way to build stiffness in your tendons is heavy isometric work, heavy eccentric work. Doesn't mean that the plyometrics aren't useful, they definitely are. But in terms of like actual stiffness of the tendon itself, the slow heavy work is going to be most optimal. But a combination of both is always going to be the best answer there. Walking around the gym like a fucking wing nut as well is it's good for your, I don't know what it's good for. It's good for stiffness of the trunk. It's great having a gym up here that I can just come up to and there's nobody about and I can just record and act the cunt without people looking at me. One thing obviously with doing, oh, too fucking fat for this yoke. With doing the body weight change with the foam roller between the legs is like you're probably limiting a wee bit how much you can actually load your back and your arms. So I can like mix it up. So one set I might do with the knees up, roller between the legs, and the next set I'll go heavy. So we've got 24 kilo kettlebell here. And just do normal chins and try and get, usually do like 3 sets of 5 or sometimes like 3 sets of 5, 4, 3 and continue to load it up from like 24 right up to like 30. Go neutral grip or underhand grip typically. That was a bit of a grind. One thing I always find with chins is the difference like 1 kilo in terms of my body fat makes is huge. Like when I'm sitting at around 96 kilos, chins feel difficult. When I lose a bit of body fat, I'm down at like 94. Suddenly I feel like an absolute fucking animal on the chins, even though it's only a couple of kg difference. It's fucking physics, isn't it? Just makes sense. A single arm jammer. One thing I like to give to my clients in terms of rep is like rep ranges. So I might say 6 to 8 for this. So if I put 30 kilo on the bar here and I go for between 6 and 8, I will typically go until I only have a couple of reps left in the tank. So I might get 8 on the first set. And then I could up the weight, maybe another 2.5 kg, and I have wiggle room to work within that 6 to 8. So if I go up to 2.5 kg, I can aim for 8, but as long as I get between 6 and 8, and I've challenged myself hard enough to only leave 1 or 2 or 3 reps in reserve, then it's been a good enough stimulus. And then if I, for example, I'm using 30 kilos here on the jammer, and I get 3 sets of 8, then I could bump the weight up and try and bring that heavier weight up to 3 sets of 8 again. So it gives you that bit of wiggle room and means that within every set you're actually challenging yourself enough. So sometimes you typically see, like say, someone will just program, or your coach will just program 3 sets of 8, you'll put on a weight and you'll just do 8 reps regardless of whether you had more or less in the tank, or sorry, regardless of whether you had more in the tank. You'll just stop at 8 because that's what your coach said, instead of really what you're trying to do when you're building muscle is stimulate muscle protein-synthesis. Like you're trying to stimulate the muscle hard enough to promote growth. So even if a good I suppose a good way to approach it is just go until you only have a couple of reps in reserve and then up the weight to try and get it back into the rep target that you're trying to hit, which is sometimes whether it's 8, whether it's 10, whether it's 12. The key is actually challenging yourself so that you only have a few reps in reserve, really, and that is what is required to build muscle and build strength. So we're supersetting this time the single arm jammer row with dumbbell chest supported rows. So for this we're trying to row elbow to pocket. You're not just trying to, you know, row the weight up and just get it done. You're trying to focus on actually targeting those back muscles. So again, low hang, pull, elbow to pocket. Feeling a bit gassed now. It's been the longest gym session ever. You're trying to fucking record shit. Man should have brought some fucking top-up supplies. It's a pity we're in the middle of nowhere.
Croft toasty. Croft toasty.
Man needs some carbs. Should have brought fucking bananas or something. If you're someone who's trying to build muscle as well, I suppose that's another thing to touch upon in terms of calories. Like, it is still the most important thing, is making sure you're eating enough. And you hear it all the time, like, and I see it all the time. Athletes, you just struggle to build muscle, and like, it honestly doesn't matter what you're doing in the gym if you're not in a surplus. Like, you'll struggle to build size, you'll struggle to build strength, you'll get frustrated, and you just end up giving up. Track your calories, track your body weight every morning. See if your body weight is moving in the right direction. If it's not, you need to increase your calories. Try and hit your protein goal between 1.6 and 2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. Like, it honestly is fucking simple stuff, but it's the simple stuff that people don't do consistently enough to see progress for long periods of time. So yeah, progressive overload, surplus, eat your protein, sleep well enough, be consistent, don't chop and change your fucking programs every 2 weeks, and you'll be sweet. And do athletic stuff so you don't fucking become a fridge in the pitch, which I did when I was like 16. Ended up having to spend time losing body fat and training like an athlete. And now we're here. Still a fucking fridge. Nah, I'm joking, but so one thing I think helps big time if you are an athlete who is trying to get into that surplus is bring snacks or food with you wherever you go. Like, even in the gym, you know, sip on Lucozade Sport, like whatever it is, just to get that bit extra into you. You know, have bananas or square bars before sessions, have shakes for after sessions. Those small things will add up over time, like just adding small snacks, extra calories in throughout your day, will add up over time, and within no time you'll be a fucking brute. So as well as like working on, you know, strength, robustness, gym, I also just try and filter in bits of like coordination based work. So for example, this, working on like a hip lock position, but actually breaking down the hip lock and actually trying to focus on the key details within a hip lock. So like, I'm obviously trying to hike this hip, I'm trying to extend through this right hip, and I'm trying to reach as much as I can on the right side, which achieves a nice, clean, efficient hip lock. For this one, I'm trying to get length on this side to load into this hip, and then we're trying to explode out of it. And then, of course, we're trying to work on both sides, because again, something I talk a lot about is efficiency. And efficiency means being able to execute movements on both sides of the body. So, you know, being able to flex and extend both hips, being able to abduct and adduct both hips, and being able to reach on both sides of the body, open up both sides of the rib cage, close both sides of the rib cage. And it's kind of in these slower movements that I kind of identify where I may be lacking efficiency. So for example, in this, like on my right side, I can feel that reach on my right's pretty smooth, whereas on my left, when I'm going up and coming across, it feels a bit clunky. So again, it's just something to work on and to continue to rep in my gym sessions and improve, and you know, which again will have that bit of carryover onto the pitch. Never forget the gun show. The feel good factor can't be understated of walking out of the gym feeling like you're the big man. Another key mistake, hold on, finish this out. When people do arms or like biceps or triceps, they just go too light and they try and like really isolate the bicep, but like you still need to go fucking heavy enough to break the tissue down and stimulate growth.
That's what we got in.
With 22.5s for 8 to 10 each side. That's cooked me. Should feel a nice pump after that. But yeah, so regardless of what muscle you're targeting, whether it's your chest with the bench press, whether it's pull-ups, your back, or whether it's isolated movements like curls, tricep extensions, you still need to put enough load on the muscle to stimulate growth, so don't make that mistake. And your muscle building journey will be simple. Not easy, but simple. So I'll always pair a bicep with a tricep at the end, like as a finisher. So the problem with these gyms, ideally I would like a cable machine like we have over there, but that one is absolutely shite, so I won't be using it. But like a cable machine is probably the best for isolating the tricep, but we will do some skull crushers instead. Go 12 kg. Probably going to be too light. See, trying to keep the elbows locked in place. Nice and slow and drive up. So again, if you do single arm, crush your skull, get a bit more range. Probably too light. I can also feel my elbow crunching there. Don't like those, to be honest, but.
Do you ever do like behind the head?
Yeah, I would do behind the head, but sometimes with a single dumbbell. Do you ever do that? I'll go with that now and see what that feels like.
Do you know what is actually quite good for
Banded.
banded, but also with the ski?
Do you think?
Underrated.
It's for a tricep push down?
You just do like 100 meters, just triceps.
Ah, right.
And you focus on it. Give yourself a bit of elbow, like shoulder flexion, to get a bit of depth, and then bring it down as well.
Oh, I couldn't be arsed. We're there all day.
Yeah, resistance, man.
Ah, fuck it. Just fuck it. We'll go. Do you think you could do black bands?
Yeah.
We'll see.
You're like behind you, so you step on. This is what I was doing in lockdown. Where you just get the band.
I fucking done that, have I? Right. Hold them high up as you can to create enough tension. Go a wee bit more. Don't know if I like that. See people doing crossover, but I ain't getting about this. I don't really like it, you know. We go with the dumbbell. Used to do this all the time. Do you ever do this?
I always found I was whacking myself in the head.
It's good. It's nice not having to do this bullshit all the time. Jeez, like when I think of the amount of weights that I used to lift to gain muscle when I was like 15, 16, the amount of sessions that you had to do, like dogging it out, like chasing pumps, chasing getting stronger, like 4 or 5 days a week. And it's, once you have the muscle mass on your frame, like I have had now for a while, like it takes such a little amount of gym work to actually maintain that, maintain strength, maintain muscle mass. So yes, you have to dog it out like I did from like 15, 16, 17, first couple of years. It was tough going, like it was constantly going into the gym and trying to drive numbers and put yourself out of your comfort zone. But once you have that mass, like I literally could go to the gym once a week now, like not really push myself a massive amount and still hold on my muscle mass and my strength, which is good. But yeah, for the sake of this video, I'm showing you an upper body session that is required to build some size, so we'll go with it. So that wraps up today's gym session. Again, nothing major, it's a bit of a recovery day, as we're leading into obviously playing Offaly on Sunday. So yeah, upper body and a bit of rehab, prehab. It's nice to be able to blend those two things together and get a mix of everything in. Again, it shouldn't really take you more than an hour, that kind of session. It took me 3 hours today because I was recording content, but yeah, and again now I'll take things down a notch tomorrow, get a primer session in tomorrow night and be ready to rock coming into the weekend. Even already after doing that session, like my whole body feels better after training last night. My hamstring tendon feels very quiet. I feel a lot looser and I've stimulated that recovery process. So yeah, heading now, I'll go home, do a bit of work, and we'll go to the sauna tonight, as I usually do 3-4 times a week, just to get out and about with a few friends, socialise, get a bit of movement in again. If you enjoyed that kind of style of content, if you enjoyed that session, if you took anything from it, let me know. Or if there's anything else you would like to see, don't be afraid to shoot me a message. But so like, subscribe, share it to a friend, whatever else you can do, it'll be massively appreciated.